Hello and welcome and namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now first up, let's take a look at the top stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan strengthened India-UAE ties with pacts in defence, energy, investments, shipping and AI in Abu Dhabi. Prime Minister Modi is now set to reach the Netherlands for the second leg of his five-nation visit after completing a successful trip to the United Arab Emirates. BRICS foreign ministers discussed global governance reforms on day 2 of their Delhi meet. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Aragchi tells DD India the Strait of Hormuz is open for friendly countries. And the two-day Trump-Xi meet in Beijing ends without any major outcomes. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi says the two sides have agreed to set up trade and investment councils. First up, let's get you all the top developments related to Prime Minister Modi's Abu Dhabi visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on his way to the Netherlands, the second leg of his five-nation tour after wrapping up a successful UAE visit. This marks a major boost in India-UAE relations, with both countries signing key agreements in defence, energy and infrastructure. The visit highlights the growing strategic importance of the partnership amid global geopolitical and energy challenges. From long-term LPG supplies to new defence framework agreement, the outcomes are expected to strengthen India's energy security and economic growth. Here's more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's brief but high-impact visit to Abu Dhabi on Friday has delivered substantial gains for India-UAE ties, underscoring the deepening strategic partnership amid global energy challenges. This marks the first leg of PM Modi's six-day, five-nation tour from May 15th to 20th, which also includes the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and Italy, with a strong focus on energy security, trade, technology, and defense cooperation. Upon entering UAE airspace, PM Modi's aircraft was escorted by UAE F-16 fighter jets, reflecting the warmth and strategic importance of the visit. He received a warm reception and guard of honor in Abu Dhabi before holding substantive delegation-level talks with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The leaders signed a landmark framework for strategic defense partnership, an MOU on strategic petroleum reserves, a long-term agreement for LPG supplies, and an MOU for establishing a ship repair cluster at Vadinar in Gujarat. Investments worth $5 billion were also announced in Indian infrastructure, RBL Bank, and Samman Capital. These pacts aim to deepen cooperation in defense industrial collaboration, advanced technologies, counterterrorism, energy security, and economic development.
भारत हर परिस्थिति में यूएई के साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर खड़ा है और आगे भी खड़ा रहेगा। जल्द से जल्द शांति और स्थिरता की बहाली के लिए भारत हर संभव सहयोग देने के लिए तैयार है।
The visit builds on the momentum from UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan's official visit to India in January 2026, during which a letter of intent for the strategic defense partnership was signed, elevating ties in trade, investment, AI, and renewable energy. PM Modi underlined the ever-growing cooperation between the two nations.
आज जिस तरह की परिस्थिति है, इसमें भारत और यूएई की स्ट्रेटेजिक साझेदारी, इसका महत्व कई गुना बढ़ गया। हम आने वाले समय में हर क्षेत्र में साथ मिलकर के आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे। एक बार फिर आपके आत्मीयता भरे स्वागत और गहरी मित्रता के लिए मैं हृदय से आपका बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
PM's visit reflects the warmth and priority both nations attach to the relationship. Officials described the meetings as highly productive, covering bilateral, regional, and international issues. The outcomes are expected to enhance India's energy resilience, defense capabilities, and economic growth, while further elevating people to people and commercial ties.
This indeed was a very successful visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the United Arab Emirates, which will not only strengthen the comprehensive strategic partnership between both the countries, but also it will give an impetus to the ties in different sectors, especially in the area of energy. With camera person Senthil Kumar, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for DD India in United Arab Emirates.
Now, Prime Minister Modi's five-nation tour is placing energy security and green transition at the centre of India's global outreach. From securing long-term crude, LPG and LNG supplies in the UAE to building partnerships in green hydrogen and clean technologies across Europe. The visit reflects India's twin strategy of ensuring energy stability while accelerating its clean energy ambitions.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's five-nation visit comes at a crucial time as India seeks to strengthen its energy security, diversify crude and LNG supplies, and accelerate partnerships in renewable energy and green hydrogen as part of its long-term green growth strategy. PM Modi began the tour in the United Arab Emirates, where energy security dominated discussions with President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The two countries signed key agreements on strategic petroleum reserves and long-term LPG supplies, reinforcing the UAE's role as one of India's most critical energy partners. The UAE currently meets nearly 11% of India's crude oil requirements and around 40% of the LPG demand. Indian companies have also signed long-term LNG agreements. India and the UAE also reviewed cooperation in upstream oil investments, including Indian stakes in the Lower Zakum and Abu Dhabi onshore blocks. Beyond oil and gas, India and the UAE are rapidly expanding cooperation in renewable energy and green transition projects. Both countries are also exploring electricity grid connectivity and cooperation under the Global Biofuels Alliance launched during India's G20 presidency. As Prime Minister Modi moves from the Gulf to Europe, the focus shifts from conventional energy security to green transition and green hydrogen partnerships. In the Netherlands, discussions are expected to focus on green hydrogen corridors, sustainable infrastructure, and clean technology cooperation. In Sweden and Norway, Prime Minister Modi's engagements are expected to focus on industrial decarbonization, offshore wind energy, battery technology, carbon capture, and clean manufacturing. India and Sweden are already working together under the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, or LEAD IT, aimed at decarbonizing hard to abate industrial sectors. Sweden is also emerging as a key partner in green steel and hydrogen based industrial technologies. Norway visit and third India Nordic Summit in Oslo are expected to deepen cooperation in offshore wind, blue economy, Arctic sustainability research, and green technologies. The final leg of the visit in Italy will focus on clean energy, advanced manufacturing, and sustainable industrial cooperation under the India-Italy Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025-2029. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now we'll return to the story of the progress in particularly India-UAE ties a little later in the show, but for the moment let's move on and talk about BRICS foreign ministers meeting, and they've discussed global governance reforms on day 2 of their Delhi meet. DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh brings us a special report on the outcomes of this important meet held in New Delhi.
BRICS foreign ministers' meetings concluded on Friday. On day 2 of the high-level engagements, leaders participated in a session on reforms of global governance and multilateral system. Opening the session, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar underlined the need for credible and reformed multilateralism in a world that is more interconnected, complex and multipolar.
Our discussion on reform is both timely and necessary. From declining trust to inefficiencies in decision-making, multilateral frameworks are under considerable strain. As BRICS nations, we have a shared responsibility to advance a more inclusive, representative, and responsive global governance architecture.
Member nations exchanged views and shared perspectives on the key pillars of the BRICS strategic partnership, among other important issues.
During the course of two-day Foreign Ministers meeting, discussion took place around three broader themes: global and regional matters, reform of global governance and multilateral system, and BRICS at 20 under the theme Building for Resilience, Innovation, Cooperation and Sustainability.
Leaders from BRICS nations also shared their views on importance of strengthening world order and complimented the leadership of India on the BRICS forum.
During the talks with the Foreign Minister of India, His Excellency Jaishankar, and during a lengthy reception and conversation with the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, we discussed the key areas of our privileged strategic partnership that were defined during the summits between President Putin and Prime Minister Modi, including the latest summit of this kind that took place here in New Delhi last December.
It has enabled us to share with the rest of the world our views on very significant developments that are currently the issues the world is grappling with. It has enabled us to share our views on the global governance system, the tendencies of unilateralism and versus multilateralism.
On the sidelines of the BRICS summit, EAM Jaishankar held a number of bilateral meetings, including with leaders from Iran, Malaysia, Uganda, Cuba, among others. With camera person Sanjeev, Shubhendu Ghosh's report for DD India.
And in an exclusive conversation with DD India, Shubhendu Ghosh, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Aragchi complimented India's leadership at the BRICS. Speaking on the West Asia conflict, the minister said Iran is a victim of aggression and that the Strait of Hormuz is open for friendly countries.
We are at the BRICS Foreign Ministers meet in New Delhi. I have with me the Foreign Minister of Iran, Mr. Abbas Aragchi. Welcome to DD India, sir. First, your key takeaways of the BRICS congregation meeting so far.
Well, thank you so much. First of all, I have to appreciate the Indian government for a very warm hospitality extended to me and my delegation and to all delegations, and also for the very good and excellent arrangements for this ministerial meeting of BRICS and for the success of this meeting. I think it was one of the best, ministerial foreign ministers meeting of BRICS. We had several meetings and we discussed about different important topics which are related to BRICS purposes and principles. And I had the opportunity to express the position of my country, Islamic Republic of Iran, especially after this war of aggression which was imposed on us by the United States and Israel. And we very much appreciate the BRICS position in condemnation of that aggression, which is against the basic principles of international law and the United Nations Charter.
So we saw how the conflict in West Asia dominated the discussions at the BRICS meeting. What is the road ahead, if you can give us a sense of that?
Well, the road ahead for BRICS is to continue working on its principles and the road that we have started to go together. And for the West Asia, I think the best way is to go for diplomacy. There is no military solution, and I think the United States should understand the point. They have tested us at least twice, and they have come to the point that there is no military solution. They cannot achieve any of their goals through diplomacy, through military. But if they try diplomacy, that is something else. We have already started engaging, but there are lots of problems in the way. The most important problem is the contradictory messages we receive from Americans through their comments and interviews and whatever.
And sir, just one final question. The disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz is creating a lot of pressure in global supply chains, energy supply chains, including for friendly countries like India. How do you respond to that?
But this is not our fault. We didn't start this war. We are only defending ourselves, and I think we have every right for self-defense. Strait of Hormuz, as far as we are concerned, is not closed, especially for friendly countries. It's only closed for our enemies. But friendly countries, vessels belongs to all other countries, are only asked to coordinate their passage with our military in order to avoid any obstacle in the way, or to ensure a safe passage. And this is what we are doing. In the past several days, many vessels have gone through that strait with the help of our naval forces, and that will continue. The only way is to end this war of aggression altogether, and then we will make sure that safe passage would be guaranteed for each and every vessel.
Minister, thank you for speaking with India. That was Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Aragchi, giving his perspective on the outcome of the BRICS congregation of foreign ministers, and also his perspective on the developments in the West Asia conflict. With camera person Sanjeev, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in New Delhi.
And in the larger theatre of the West Asia conflict, the Iranian foreign minister has said that India can play a greater role for peace in the region. He asserted that Tehran is ready to assist the passage of all vessels through the Strait of Hormuz.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Aragchi on Friday criticized the United States' role in West Asia, saying Washington remains the main obstacle to regional peace. Speaking amid heightened tensions, Aragchi said the US turned to diplomatic outreach after more than a month of unsuccessful military efforts, adding that Tehran views the move with deep suspicion.
We cannot trust Americans at all. So everything should be exact. Everything should be defined very clearly before we can conclude a deal. We are in doubt about their seriousness, but the moment we feel that they are serious and they are ready for a fair and balanced deal, we certainly proceed in the course of negotiations.
Addressing a press conference in New Delhi on the sidelines of the BRICS foreign ministers' meet, Aragchi said Iran is ready to assist all vessels pass through the Strait of Hormuz, adding that the situation in the key sea route is very complicated now. He also thanked India and said that New Delhi can play a greater role for peace in West Asia.
We appreciate the government and people of India who expressed solidarity and sympathy towards the Iranian people, and we appreciate the humanitarian assistance provided to us by the Indian government as a sign of solidarity.
Earlier in the day, speaking alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing, US President Donald Trump said that he is weighing lifting sanctions on Chinese companies that buy Iranian oil. American President Donald Trump has suggested that pursuing Iran's enriched uranium is more about political optics than about security. Speaking on the truce deal, Trump added that he was running out of patience with talks being stalled.
We want the straits open. We're closing it now. They closed it, and we closed it on top of them. But we want the straits open, and we want them to get it ended, because it's a crazy thing. They're a little bit crazy, and it's no good. Can't have it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Global stocks slumped and oil prices rose on Friday as talks between the United States and China failed to deliver progress on reopening the Strait of Hormuz, reigniting worries of persistent inflation pressures that could derail economic growth. Oil prices rose around 3%, with the international benchmark Brent crude contract close to $109 a barrel as another weekend approached with no prospect of a return to normal oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz. Washington and Tehran announced a ceasefire last month but have been struggling to thrash out a permanent peace pact. With agency inputs, Tripti Tripaঠি's report, DD India.
Now, the two-day Trump-Xi meet in Beijing ended without any major outcomes. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has said that the two sides have agreed to set up trade and investment councils. A lot of other claims were also made by Donald Trump, but China has not really elaborated on them yet.
US President Donald Trump concluded his two-day Beijing summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping, marking the first visit by US President to China since 2017. The high-stakes meeting focused on trade, Iran, Taiwan and technology competition, but ended with few formal announcements and limited clarity on specific agreements. Chinese President Xi Jinping described the visit as a milestone, saying, US-China relations are entering a constructive and strategic stability phase. Chinese state media said Xi and Trump reached several cooperative understandings, though Beijing did not provide detailed confirmations of US-claimed deals. Trump said he had secured fantastic trade deals and resolved a lot of different problems during the talks, but did not provide specifics. Trump also claimed progress on multiple sectors including agriculture, aviation and artificial intelligence, saying Xi had agreed in principle to major purchases of Boeing aircraft, US oil and soybeans. However, no formal agreements have been announced and Chinese officials have neither confirmed nor denied the claims.
President Xi's an incredible guy, got along, made a lot of great trade deals, including over 200 planes for Boeing with a promise of 750 planes, which will be by far the largest order ever if they do a good job with the 200, which I'm sure they will. And that's General Electric also, the engines. So they're buying General Electric. So it's approximately 450 engines, 200 planes, and a promise of up to 750 if they do a good job.
Trump further said chip export controls were not a central focus of discussions, despite ongoing US-China tensions over advanced semiconductor technology. Taiwan also featured prominently in the talks. Xi reportedly warned of potential conflict if the issue is mishandled, while Trump said he heard him out but made no commitments. The US State Department reiterated that Washington's policy on Taiwan remains unchanged.
On Taiwan, he does not want to see a fight for independence because that would be a very strong confrontation, and I heard him out.
Are you going to change your wording?
No, I didn't make a comment on it. I heard him out. I have a lot of respect for him.
Although artificial intelligence and semiconductors were on the agenda, US officials said export controls on advanced chips were not a major topic. Discussions reportedly touched on AI safety and future cooperation, but no concrete outcomes were announced. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, Ukraine's State Emergency Service said on Friday that death toll from a Russian strike on Kyiv rose to 24 people as rescuers concluded a search operation lasting more than 28 hours. It further added that a further 47 people were injured in the capital and 30 people were pulled from the rubble. Local authorities said that rescue operations in the affected district had ended, with emergency units transitioning to recovery and reconstruction work. Kyiv's mayor declared Friday a day of mourning for those killed in what Ukrainian officials described as one of the largest aerial attacks on the capital since the start of the war. Russia and Ukraine also exchanged 205 prisoners of war each on Friday. Moscow's defense ministry said a week after US President Donald Trump announced a large swap would take place between the warring sides. Trump said last week that Russia and Ukraine would carry out a mutual swap of 1,000 prisoners as he announced a 3-day US-brokered ceasefire. The swaps remain one of the few remaining areas of cooperation between the two sides at war since Russia ordered troops into its neighbor in February 2022. Russia's defense ministry said that the United Arab Emirates provided humanitarian assistance during the return of the Russian servicemen from captivity. The World Health Organization said on Friday that the US has confirmed that an individual who had an inconclusive test was later confirmed to be negative for hantavirus, bringing down the total global cases to 10 from 11. 3 people, a Dutch couple and a German national, have died since the outbreak on board the MV Hondias, a Dutch luxury cruise ship, which had departed Argentina on a polar expedition on the 1st of April. Crew, passengers and people in contact have been quarantined in several European nations. US health officials said that there were no confirmed cases in the country, adding that 41 people, including 18 quarantined in Nebraska and Atlanta, are being monitored for possible infection. The current outbreak involves the Andes virus, a rare hantavirus strain, and the only one known to be capable of limited human-to-human transmission, typically after close and prolonged contact. The strain has circulated in parts of Argentina and Chile for decades, and the ship samples show no meaningful variation from that virus. The WHO has stressed that the outbreak is not comparable to COVID-19 and did not pose a pandemic threat. There are currently no approved vaccines or targeted antiviral treatments for hantavirus, and care is largely supportive. And still to come in this edition of DD India News Hour, we'll be speaking with our expert guests about how India and the UAE have energized their ties further in vital fields with the latest top-level meet in Abu Dhabi. India's ambassador in the Netherlands tells DD India about how bilateral ties are likely to be advanced in PM Modi's upcoming Amsterdam visit. And we'll also get you perspectives from different African envoys on the upcoming India-Africa Forum Summit. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, to understand the significance of Prime Minister Modi's UAE visit and what lies ahead for India-UAE relations, DD India Siddharth Bhardwaj spoke with India's ambassador to the UAE, Dr. Deepak Mittal. Listen in.
To know more about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, we have with us India's ambassador to the UAE, Mr. Deepak Mittal. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining in on DD India. Indeed, it was a really special visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. From ceremonial welcome to both the leaders meeting. What do you make of this visit by Prime Minister?
Another milestone visit of His Excellency Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to UAE. This is his 8th visit, but every time it becomes very special, and this time it was made even special by the President of UAE, who personally came to receive him to the airport. As you would have seen how the UAE fighter aircrafts escorted the Air India 1 flight as it came into UAE space. So great honor extended, exceptional and special gestures. As also with the presence of the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Khalid, and Crown Prince of Dubai, Sheikh Hamdan, who were present during the meetings and also meet the Prime Minister.
We all know that energy sector forms the bedrock of the relationship between both the nations, and there were some key outcomes regarding energy sector as well. What do you have to say about that?
Well, you're right. India-UAE has a very strong energy partnership, and during this visit, both leaders had a very detailed discussions, and significant outcomes did come. Both sides had an agreement with Indian companies and the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. One, to look at how to enhance the participation of the UAE in India's strategic petroleum reserves, to increase storage capacities to 30 million barrels. Second, to look at how to establish new reserves in India, including in Chandikol in Odisha, which we are looking at developing for UAE's partnership. Third, to also look at how do you establish new strategic reserves for the gas, LNG and LPG in India. There is an understanding which is reached to work together. And there is also to work towards long-term LPG supplies from UAE to meet India's need. So it has only fostered and deepened that energy partnership in a very win-win fashion.
Well, Ambassador, thank you so much for joining in on this special broadcast. Well, that was indeed a very successful visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to UAE. He met the President of the United Arab Emirates, and both the leaders discussed ways to strengthen the partnership between both the countries, and of course new ways, new opportunities that lie in the future. Thank you so much for joining in on this special broadcast on DD India.
And let's talk about the advancement of India-UAE ties with this particular visit. We have now former Indian ambassador to the UAE joining us, Ambassador Sanjay Sudhir with us. Good evening to you, Ambassador. Now, how do you assess the outcome of the latest India-UAE engagement at the highest level?
I think PM's visit was a very significant visit. The significance of this visit is twofold. It came just months after the brief but very highly impactful visit of President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed to Delhi in January this year. And it served as a powerful reaffirmation of India's solidarity with the leadership and people of the UAE, as well as an unequivocal condemnation of the Iranian attacks on the UAE. The comprehensive strategic partnership, which has received a substantial boost through a broad swathe of agreements spanning defense, energy, shipping, investments and high technology. In the light of energy vulnerabilities laid bare by the closure of Strait of Hormuz, the agreements to augment India's strategic petroleum reserves and to secure long-term LNG and LPG are particularly timely. And I think the investment commitment of $5 billion further underscores the UAE's enduring confidence in India's growth story and reinforces the bilateral strategic investment partnership.
Right. Now, do the outcomes also show how India and UAE have forged an effective partnership in responding to deep geopolitical instability in the region and beyond in a very nimble manner?
Well, India has always stood for peace. India has always called for diplomacy because wars can never lead to any solution. West Asia has inherent reasons for volatility, but the way forward is to give peace a chance through diplomacy. And that's what Prime Minister Modi has always called for at any forum in the world. Prime Minister also reaffirmed India's strong condemnation of the attacks on the UAE, as well as its solidarity with the leadership and the people of the UAE. PM also conveyed India's very clear and categorical position in favor of ensuring safe transit passage and unimpeded navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, which is so vital for enduring peace and stability in the region, as well as for energy and food security.
Right. But do you feel that under the current scenario, this partnerships that have been forged in the strategic reserve area and for increased supply of gas for LNG, do you think the stalemate that is there right now in the peace process in the situation between the US, Israel and Iran, how would it work until that is sorted out?
Well, in the past, the Strait of Hormuz has never been closed. You know, it has withstood Iran-Iraq war, so many disturbances in the past, including Midnight Hammer in June last year. So right now it's closed, but I'm sure it will open up in due course. But energy definitely is the bedrock of our economic engagement, and UAE is India's anchor energy partner in the Gulf. And relationship has actually moved well beyond buyer-seller relationship. While the UAE continues to be the fourth largest source of our crude imports, about 11% of all our imports, and is also the second largest destination of our petroleum products, including petrol, diesel, lubricants, etc. But more importantly, India-UAE energy relationship is a two-way investment relationship. While India has invested about $1.2 billion in the prolific Lower Zakum field, and Area 1 of Abu Dhabi. The UAE is the only country which has actually invested in India's Strategic Petroleum Reserves program with about 5 million barrels stored in Mangalore. And in this visit, that relationship is sought to be furthered to include Chandikol and the other SPRs which we are building to
Yes,
take
in
the
Visakhapatnam.
yes, to take 5 million to about 30 million. And also very importantly, we all saw how important LPG supplies are and how dependent we are on LPG supplies from the Gulf. What has been discussed is storage facilities, strategic reserves for both LNG as well as LPG. I think there is so much more to do in energy cooperation. Therefore, these agreements on SPRs, LNG, LPG will go a long way in boosting India's energy security and further deepening our energy ties.
Okay. Now let's talk about the India-UAE Strategic Defence Partnership Framework. How do you see it being taken forward? It's just been agreed.
Well, defense cooperation is extremely important for further strengthening our bilateral comprehensive strategic partnership, as well as given the prevailing geopolitical scenario in the region. Continuing work on the letter of intent, which was signed during His Highness's visit in January this year, I think what was signed today, which is the agreement on framework for strategic defense partnership, will further deepen our relationship in defense. I think it will promote defense industrial collaboration, advanced technology, training exercises, special operations, and interoperability. India, as you know, has always been a factor of peace and stability and seeks to contribute that to the West Asia region as well.
Right. Now, the UAE is already India's 7th largest overseas investor and has the two nations they've had a bilateral investment treaty as well. But what do you make of the trajectory with its latest commitments?
Well, the total investment so far in India are about 22 billion plus. And today, the commitment to invest another 5 billion is a big signal, of the trust which the UAE establishment has, the UAE businesses have in India's economy and our consistent march towards Viksit Bharat. These two investments which were announced today are very, very significant. The investment by Emirates NBD Bank, worth about $3 billion in RBL Bank, is perhaps the largest ever financial sector FDI we have received in the past. And the IHC's investment in Saman Capital of $1 billion also is a very significant one. So in all, $5 billion in one visit, I think is a big thing. It just reiterates their commitment and their conviction that Indian economy is the way to go.
Right. And both the countries are also demonstrating that their eyes are set firmly on the future with the supercomputer cluster plan as well. Now, what is the scope of their partnership in these top tech fields?
Well, people generally feel that UAE economy is based on oil and gas. It's not really so, because it's only about 28% of the GDP which is accounted for by oil and gas. Rest is all high-tech, tourism, real estate, construction, and so many other things. The way UAE has invested in high-tech is really, really amazing, and I think it's time for both countries to work together on this. So in that direction, it is a significant development that a term sheet for setting up an 8 exaflop supercomputer cluster in partnership with CDAC on our side and G42 on the UAE side has been signed. Surely this will pave way for commercial collaboration between CDAC and G42 and also set up supercomputer cluster as a part of the AI mission of India, which is a very ambitious mission.
Okay. And Ambassador Sudhir, ship repair has also emerged as a significant area of cooperation. What kind of synergies and opportunities can it create for both the nations?
Well, I think in the last 10 years, so many missions have been launched like Sagar Mala and so much emphasis to develop coastal shipping. And for this, I think the shipping infrastructure needs to develop. And India has found a very, very good partner in DP World, which has global experience in running ports and ship repair facilities and dockyards. So this MOU between Cochin Shipyard Limited and Dry Docks World of DP World W on setting up a ship repair cluster at Wadinar. And there is another MOU on skill development in ship repair. I think together these will position India actually as a hub for skilled shipbuilding and ship repair professionals. I mean, just remember that India has one of the largest coastlines in the world, which is probably even longer than our northern neighbor. So we have to see how much more we can do in the shipping sector. And we have found the DP World as a very, very important partner for that.
Ambassador Sujesh Sudhir, thank you so much for joining us to talk about the evolution and the fast-paced growth that India and the UAE have set in energizing their ties further. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now let's talk further about Prime Minister Modi's onward journey. It's a full 5-nation trip, 4 of them in Europe. This is in fact the first summit-level interaction that will take place between Prime Minister Modi and Dutch Prime Minister Rob Jetten after the formation of the new government in the Netherlands, where the Prime Minister is headed next. India's ambassador to the Netherlands, Kumar Tuhin, has spoken with DD India's Amritpal Singh about the various areas of cooperation which could come up for discussion between the two leaders.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi shall be arriving in the Netherlands on Friday on the second leg of his 5-nation tour. During his stay in Netherlands, the Prime Minister will hold bilateral talks with the Dutch Prime Minister. He shall also be calling on the King and the Queen of the Netherlands. Why is this visit significant? To talk about that, I have the Ambassador of India to the Netherlands, Kumar Tuhin. Sir, thank you very much for speaking to DD India. What is the significance of this visit?
The visit of Prime Minister Modi to the Netherlands, it carries quite a lot of significance, both symbolically and also substantively. If you see, this is the first European stop in his 5-nation tour, and it therefore indicates the great amount of importance that we attach to the Netherlands at this juncture. Also, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting the Netherlands for the second time, first visit being in 2017. So this visit is coming after 9 years. But this visit is coming at a time when the bilateral relations are poised for a really positive and upward trajectory. And also our relations with the EU is witnessing significant momentum, especially in the wake of the historic India-UAE FTA.
Must we talk about trade and investment? Where do we stand? And what do you see the way forward? And what could be achieved at this visit? Also the fillip it could get because of the India-EU FTA.
This is again a very happy topic for me to speak about because India-Netherlands trade and investment ties are very strong. In fact, the strength of our ties is sometimes not really properly understood, I think, in India. In terms of the merchandise exports, this is the second largest export destination in Europe, merchandise exports, what I'm talking about. Also, in terms of investments, about $50 billion plus investment have come from Netherlands into India. About $26 billion have come from India into Netherlands. More than 300 companies from Netherlands are present in India, including top names like you say Philips and Signify and AkzoNobel, KLM and so on. Similarly, top Indian companies are also present here. Given this, now that we also have the framework of India-EU FTA in place, and also given the special role of Rotterdam as a gateway to Europe, I think that our trade and investment ties, economic ties with Netherlands are only going to be up and up from this point onwards.
Ambassador Kumar Tuhin, thank you very much for speaking to DD India.
Thank you.
And Prime Minister Modi will hold talks with Dutch Prime Minister Rob Jetten on Saturday. The two sides are expected to upgrade the relationship to a strategic partnership as well. Amritpal Singh reports from Rotterdam.
When Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with his Dutch counterpart Rob Jetten on Saturday, the focus would be on deepening and expanding the already existing partnership in diverse fields, ranging from science and technology, water management, agriculture, health, cooperation in production of semiconductors, green hydrogen, and increasing the bilateral trade and investment. The two countries would specifically look at increasing and expanding the cooperation when it comes to water management, as Netherlands is a world leader.
The other thing that, of course, that we are very, very good at in this country is, as a low-lying country, is water management. But it's not just about, keeping our feet dry. It's also about water purification, about water recycling, about water management, about disaster, about risk management.
Textiles is another important component of trade between the two countries.
There's a 400-year-old trade relationship between India and the Netherlands, specifically textiles. So cottons and chintzes became very popular in the Netherlands because of their material, which was soft and color fast.
The bilateral trade between India and the Netherlands stood at $27.8 billion last year. The potential of it is much more, not just bilaterally, but also with the rest of Europe. For where I am standing at the Rotterdam port is known as the gateway to Europe. So this becomes increasingly significant, especially in the context of the recently concluded India-EU Free Trade Agreement. With cameraman Monty Singh, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Rotterdam.
Now, as India continues to strengthen its position as one of the world's fastest growing economies, interest from international businesses is growing as well. In the Netherlands, companies and trade organizations are increasingly seeing India as a key partner for investment and innovation. DD India's Mark Limburg reports.
India is rapidly becoming one of the world's most important economic powers, and Dutch companies are increasingly looking for new opportunities. From technology and logistics to agriculture and innovation, cooperation between India and the Netherlands continues to grow. We spoke to Edith Noordman of the India-Netherlands Chamber of Commerce and Trade and to Dutch entrepreneur Jelke Schippers, who is working closely with India about why they see the country as an attractive and promising partner for business and investment.
The Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce and Trade has been enhancing the business relations between the Netherlands and India and vice versa already for 23 years. We are very proud to support businesses in the corridor, and well, now is even the moment with the upcoming FTA of doing that even stronger than before. What makes India particularly attractive today is the combination of scale, talent, digital transformation and long-term economic growth.
There are tremendous opportunities for growth between India and Netherlands. Already water, agriculture and health have already been identified as the priority areas. Apart from that, both sides are also working in new and critical technologies like enabling technologies, semiconductors, maritime. So there are huge opportunities for us to grow together.
The Netherlands has really started to appreciate India for its highly skilled workers and technology. And especially with the recent trade agreement, enormous new markets will open up. So the opportunities will only grow even further.
India is increasingly viewed in Europe as the key global player for the coming decades. At the same time, the Netherlands is a highly international economy, and naturally the Netherlands has always been focused on global trade and innovation partnerships.
Europe is a really interesting long-term partner. And if you look at the Netherlands, it's a small country, but it's highly globally integrated. It speaks English very well. And especially after Brexit, I think the Netherlands is the ideal gateway into Europe.
As economic ties between India and the Netherlands continue to strengthen, many Dutch companies see India as a market full of long-term opportunity and innovation. This is Mark Limburg reporting from the Netherlands for DD India.
And now let's get to developments related to the upcoming India-Africa Forum Summit. Ahead of the India-Africa Forum Summit, Dr. Mohammed Abdallah Ali Elotom, who's the ambassador of the Republic of Sudan, has described it as a strong opportunity to explore new avenues and deepen bilateral ties. Harisao Lalatiana Akuche, High Commissioner of Seychelles, has called it a vital follow-up to her country's February engagements, while Emile Mupesi, second councillor at the Rwanda High Commission, New Delhi, highlighted excellent bilateral relations and India's position as a top investor in Rwanda.
Yeah, good opportunity actually for Sudan to explore more avenues of cooperation, between India and Sudan. Luckily, I think this comes within a very friendly relationship that happily exists between the two countries. So it's a good opportunity for us to further promote and develop our relations with India.
Visit of my president last February. It's very important. It's like a follow-up for what we have agreed during the visit, where the CECEL program has been launched by the two leaders, and it covers a lot of areas which are very important for us, especially now with the geopolitics, the ongoing situation. We need to come together and solidify the South-South cooperation within the Global South India initiative. So I would like to take the opportunity to thank the government of India for organizing it. It's a timely need, and I'm sure that it will come out with a very, very important decision and outcome for the benefits for India, for Africa, and together we can move forward.
We are good friends. Both countries, they have excellent relations. I know my president, His Excellency Paul Kagame, has been to this country several times, I think more than 4 times. So both countries are having strategic relations. We have a very active economic cooperation. India is one of the countries that have the top number of investors in the country, in Rwanda.
And Ibrahim Mboub, Deputy Head of Mission, High Commission of the Gambia, said the forum will explore fresh investment opportunities and build on strong India-Africa trade ties. While Dr. Abdullahi Mohammed Odowa, Ambassador of Somalia to India, highlighted upcoming discussions on trade, business, health, security and future partnerships. Dr. Abbas Abdullahi, Minister Councillor in Nigeria, also participated in the interaction.
Meeting will be a forum where more investment opportunities will be explored, and we hope to see very clear and diverse opportunities for investment from both sides. India being a fast-growing economy and also with a very strong trade ties with Africa, I think this is a great opportunity.
To also participate an element of that, which is the space conclave. There are some other elements, including trade and business, health, education, security, and quite a large areas of possible area of discussions for future partnership.
The greatest partner of India, not only in airspace, in all aspects, because we have more than 130 Indian investors in Nigeria. And B, you should know that in Nigeria, Indians conglomerate investments is the second largest provider of labor in Nigeria than any other organization or any country investors in Nigeria.
And Odongo J.J. Abubakar, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uganda, has spoken with DD India on the sidelines of the BRICS summit on Friday. And on being asked about India's role in the global south and African countries, the minister said that India has played a significant role in the region's growth, and in particular Uganda has made significant progress due to the magnanimous assistance provided by India.
Sir, what's your reaction on how India is playing its role for global south and African countries?
Significant indeed. I was telling His Excellency, that particularly for the case of Uganda, the significant progress that we have made because of the magnanimous assistance that we have received from the Indian government and the people of India.
Now, Nepal's President Ramchandra Paudel has assigned new portfolios within the current Council of Ministers. The reshuffle was carried out on the recommendation of Prime Minister Balendra Saha. The 15-member Council of Ministers has undergone a revised division of responsibilities across key sectors, including education, health, agriculture and infrastructure. Under the new allocation of responsibilities, Prime Minister Saha will handle the Ministry of Defence and Home Affairs, along with the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The PM has been placed at the top of the revised order of precedence, followed by Finance Minister Swarnim Bagle and Foreign Minister Shishir Khanal in the second and third positions respectively, while other cabinet members have also been assigned new rankings and responsibilities. Let's get you some quick sporting updates as well. But India has concluded its Under-17 campaign at the Asian Boxing Championships 2026 with a total of 17 medals, including 2 gold, 7 silvers, and 8 bronzes, with the girls' contingent leading the charge. The Under-17 girls delivered an impressive 12-medal haul, comprising 2 golds, 6 silvers and 4 bronzes, while the Under-17 boys added 1 silver and 4 bronze medals. India secured 2 gold medals in the girls' finals. Aragchi in the 46 kg category clinched gold with a win in the second round against Rukshunabuno Ahadova of Uzbekistan. Navya in the 56 kg category added the second gold, registering a dominant 4-0 victory over Sara Kono of Japan. India's Under-17 campaign showcased strong depth in the girls' categories, adding to the country's overall success at the championships. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen to download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.